Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to office.com.pk. Dear students, this is your own platform where you come and learn, and we try to provide you with handy notes. Now, we have decided to provide you some motivation through a series of motivational videos that will comprise of the methods from reading a textbook to attempting a perfect paper in your board exams. The topic that we are going to discuss today is how to read your textbook. Okay, now you'll start thinking, everybody reads a textbook. We are reading the textbook since our childhood. Now, new methods have been developed? No, there are old methods. But the problem is that we are not being told about it. Reading a textbook is not ordinary task. Being a good student is related to how you handle your textbook and how you read it, and then how you reproduce the gained knowledge in your own words. Dear students, have you ever given a thought to certain points? Point number one, what is a textbook and how is it compiled? Why do you need a textbook? Why do you need it? For what purpose they have been provided to you? Why is it necessary to be textbook friendly? And why do you feel exhausted after reading a course textbook even if you are a book reader? Why are students run away from books? How can you achieve best from your book without getting bored? How can you read the textbook in the best possible way to gain maximum knowledge and retain it for later use? Before moving towards how to read the textbook, let us have an introduction to what textbooks are. Dear students, according to the Wikipedia definition, a textbook is a manual of instructions or a standard book in any branch of study. Textbook is a teaching tool for the teachers and a study tool for the students. It is basically an organized system of knowledge. The knowledge from different resources is gathered together and organized for the ease of students as well as for the instructors. And your textbook is more than merely a book. It has knowledge from all the possible sources present for that subject. And the authors, they try to make it easier for you to understand, and they take points from all over the sea of the knowledge and they put it together for all of you. So it is a very important book and it should be your friend. So you should respect your textbooks because they are your basic source of knowledge. Once you'll have a command on reading your textbook, it will become very much easier. And if it will be your practice, then it will be very easier for you to read your difficult books. And another important point is that your brain, it is programmed in such a way that it only loves the organized material. So if you just imagine, you'll have a book, it will have all the knowledge related to chemistry, biology, or mathematics together jumbled up. How will it be easier for you to memorize all the facts or everything that is present inside? No, that is not possible because our brain is highly organized organ and it loves organized material and it only memorizes the organized material. Now, our main topic of discussion, that is how to read a textbook. Dear students, textbook reading is different from pleasure reading or reading your favorite novel or any kind of storybook. But if you are lucky, then your textbook reading can be your pleasure reading. Let us see how. Before reading or starting a chapter to read, first you have to look at the table of contents of your textbook. In some books, there is just a simplified table of contents, like I have shown in the video, and in some books, there is a detailed table of content with their sub contents also mentioned. So you have to read or have a look at the table of content of your textbook. It will help you to know what kind of points or what kind of topics you are going to cover during the course of your study. So it will be very helpful for you. Now, the basic steps which are involved when you are asked to read a chapter. For example, you are assigned to read chapter number 1 or 2 or any other chapter before your next class, and you have to be well aware of whatever is present inside that chapter. So, what will you do? What steps will you follow to give an effective reading to that chapter so that it becomes a part of your brain and a part of your memory? Let us have a look on the basic steps that are involved in effective textbook reading. Number 1. Pre-read the chapter. Number 2. Read the summary material. Number 3. Take notes from the reading section. And number 4. Review your notes. Now the first step, that is the pre-reading. Dear students, pre-reading is very much important because it will give you a help in preparing your brain for what is coming next. You read the title, you read the heading, so you'll have a rough idea of what is present inside that chapter. Just give a look to special features that are a part of the chapter that may include diagrams, figures, tables, anything. So your brain will have a picture of that thing in itself, and then you'll when you revise it, you'll say, "Oh yeah, I have seen that somewhere." So the special features that are added inside a chapter, they will give you a better understanding and they will aid you or help you in having an idea what is present inside that chapter. So pre-reading is very much important. I know most of the students, they must be thinking to skip this step because most of the students of our country, they start to read in the last moments before exam, which is a bad practice because once you know that you have to cover a particular syllabus before your exam, so you must be well prepared before, long before your exam. In spite of doing it, cramming it on last night, and then it is a temporary knowledge which comes into your brain, then you reproduce it on your paper, and then it evaporates. And there is no use of such knowledge because the era is very much advanced now. The knowledge which is required from you is the long-term knowledge. And those who are unable to retain the knowledge inside their mind because they have not trained it, they will never be able to reproduce it at any stage of their life later on. The next step is reading the summary. Alright, now you'll say, summary is at the end of the chapter. Why would I read it at the beginning? Some chapters or some books, they have such plan that they have basic points or key points at the start of the chapter, and some they have at the end of the chapter, or both patterns can be followed. So, reading those key points or the summary, it will give you a rough idea of that chapter. The important terms, okay, you don't know about a certain term, but you'll know that, oh yes, I'm going to study about this particular term in this chapter, so that your brain again it becomes trained and it takes a picture of that particular word and then it will retain it for your later use. The summary or the key points, they are actually the key notes for whatever you are going to study. It is actually the organized ideas, but you are not well aware of them. So you'll read it for your information, for just a rough idea of what is going to happen next. Now, the next step is note taking, and this is the actual reading step. Here, you are going to read your chapter in detail. But how? Let's have a look. Since this chapter involves actual reading, so you have to read the chapter thoroughly. For that, don't be scared. Just divide your material into small chunks or paragraphs. Read it one by one and then make the key points out of that particular paragraph for your understanding, and then write it on some notebook or some page or some sticky notes. Use anything you love to highlight a particular topic. The best method for studying is to divide a large paragraph into small points so that you'll be able to revise it easily and then highlight the main points. I would suggest all of you to use a pen or pencil for highlighting your main points. Never ever use the highlighter, because sometimes you're underlining important things and you highlight the whole page, and then it becomes very difficult of finding out what is more important and what is less important to memorize. Now, what does this step do for you? In this step, you will pay the special attention to important terms, facts, and definitions, as well as the bold words. Never ignore the bold words, because these are the words which the writer thinks that you should pay attention to. So you should never ignore them. And definitions, as you all know, definitions are basically a set of pet words from some international level books or websites. So always try to memorize the definition. You have to cram it word for word. Do not try to change the definition into your own words. It will have a bad impact on your examiner, and ultimately it will result in the deduction of your marks. Now, what will you do for difficult terms or any point that is not easy to understand? For difficult terms, use the glossary. The glossary is always provided at the end of good textbooks. So it is present there. Just go through it and add those difficult terms into your notes as well. Because when you revise all the notes, those terms should not be skipped. Because they are new to you, so you have to write it. And once you write a thing, you'll never forget it. And if there is some point that is difficult for you to understand, put a question mark over it, then complete the chapter. Maybe till the end of the chapter you'll get that point clear. If not, then you can discuss it later on with your any friend or your teacher so that it becomes clear to you. Now, it is best that after you finish the chapter, you should read the summary once again to make the ideas more clear. Because now you'll know what is written inside the summary, how it is related to the contents of your chapter, and you will better able to understand and keep in mind the basic points. And additionally, you can add the summary to your own notes so that when reviewing the notes, you'll review it once again. And the more you repeat it, the more it will get better in your brain. Now, the most important step. Here, your reading is completed, but not finished yet. You have this last step left, and do it, perform it carefully with full caution. Now, you have prepared your notes, and the notes are very much easier to revise as compared to the reading of 40 pages of a chapter, or 50 pages, or 25 pages. It will be easier for you to revise your 2 page, 3 page notes in spite of that. So, review your notes. You may not review it on the same day as that of reading. At least you should revise them within the 24 hours of your first reading so that your brain, it retains the maximum information. It is scientifically proven that if you revise your notes or anything you have read within 24 hours of your first reading with that chapter, it will retain in your mind for a longer time period. You can examine yourself, you can ask questions from yourself, and then you'll know how much progress you have made with that chapter. Now, a bonus tip for all of you. Dear students, never ever feel bad about working hard on a chapter. You are doing it for yourself, okay? You're not doing it for anybody else. So you have to feel good about your study. I know being a student is very much difficult, but trust me, it is the easiest task you'll ever do. The more thoroughly you'll go through the chapter, the more easily it will be absorbed in your mind. Do not panic. Just be relaxed. Even if the time is less, panicking is not the solution. Repeat your notes, revise them whenever you have time to refresh the brain cells. Dear students, that is all about today's video. This series of motivational video will help you to be good students, good readers, and ultimately good attempters of the paper. So keep watching office.com.pk. Thank you so much for your time, and Allah Hafiz.